This is Valley News Live at 5.
We begin with breaking news as autopsy results show that Brian Laundrie died of a gunshot wound to the head, and the manner of death was suicide. He was a person of interest in the death of his girlfriend, Gabby Petito. She was reported missing by her family when Laundrie returned to the Florida home that they shared without her in September after a cross-country trip. Her body was later discovered in the Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. We want to go live to something happening in downtown Fargo right now. This is what it looks like in Broadway Square as many are awaiting the lighting of the Christmas tree, and that is a mighty fine Christmas tree. We are told that the lighting is expected to happen within the next 10 minutes, and when it does, we will go back out there live for a report. You couldn't have picked a better late afternoon in November to light a Christmas tree or travel if you were heading out this afternoon for the holidays. Let's go to Hutch for the latest on what's to come. Hutch?
Mike, thanks so much. Good evening, everyone. We are watching that weather very closely because changes are going to be happening as we go through the overnight hours. But get out there and enjoy that tree lighting ceremony tonight. Temperatures are wonderful in the Southern Valley. 35 in Fargo after mid and briefly upper 40s here. And it was in the 50s in the, Sisseton area, still 48 degrees. Some 30s up north, and north winds are going to usher some of that air our way. We have a fair amount of clouds. That'll keep temperatures fairly steady this evening. But by morning, there's going to be a chance for some snow showers in the area as a cool front makes its way down. Now it's going to be hit and miss with the snow, but we'll have wind for all, briefly reduced visibility, some slippery spots possible with light accumulations possible up north. Looks like cold and wind for all will be the main thing. So we're watching that frontal passage. We'll keep you up to date and I'll have hour by hour details on that. Just a little bit of accumulation up north, but cold air with wind chills below zero for some of us tomorrow. I'll have hour by hour details on all of that here, Mike, in just a few moments.
But as you said, let's get out and enjoy it while we can.
Good idea.
All right, thanks. The man police say intentionally drove his SUV into a holiday parade in Wisconsin was in court for the first time today since the massacre as the small community continues to struggle with their loss. 6 dead now and dozens still in the hospital tonight, 3 days after the tragedy. Jay Gray has the very latest.
The man police say was behind the wheel as an SUV accelerates into a holiday parade, expected in court this afternoon, where he'll be formally charged with 5 counts of first-degree intentional homicide.
Hey, can I called an Uber.
Video from a doorbell camera appears to show Darrell Brooks Jr. just after the tragedy, telling the resident he's homeless, asking to come inside to call Uber minutes before he was arrested. We now know Brooks has a long and violent criminal history, multiple convictions, and pending charges after accusations he fired a pistol at his nephew last year, then earlier this month, punched and in the same SUV ran over the mother of his child. 3 days later, flowers and candles dot the parade route, Main Street, shifting to a memorial honoring the 5 lost and dozens injured.
We're here and we are all feeling this moment because we are like family.
Milwaukee Brewers players joining fans for a fundraiser to support families of the victims.
I think healing is a process, and healing requires us to lean on each other and care about each other.
Healing that is painful and difficult.
Everyone's just kind of showing support for each other and being there for people who might have lost someone.
After a tragedy that many in this community say has forever changed the holiday season here. Jay Gray, NBC News, Waukesha, Wisconsin.
Counseling services have been offered to survivors struggling with the memories, emotions, and loss following what many there call an attack on their town. President Joe Biden announced the release of 50 million barrels of oil today from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve in order to lower gas prices for Americans. The move comes ahead of the holidays where more than 53 million Americans are expected to hit the road. Nationally, gas prices average $3.40 a gallon. That's $1.30 more than what people were paying for a year ago.
Price of gasoline in the wholesale market has fallen by about 10% over the last few weeks. But the price of the pump hasn't budged a penny. In other words, gas supply companies are paying less and making a lot more.
Nearly a dozen congressional Democrats sent a letter to the president asking him to release the oil reserves and ban the export of U.S. oil in order to drive down prices. The U.S. is working with China, India, Japan, South Korea, and the U.K. in releasing oil reserves to drive down prices around the globe. The White House has also confirmed that President Joe Biden intends to run for re-election in 2024. The decision is reportedly an attempt to address concerns about whether he could commit to another presidential campaign, given his age, and ease worries about Republicans returning to power. Biden turned 79 over the weekend and has said that he wants to run again. The White House has not indicated whether Biden would automatically endorse Vice President Kamala Harris for president if he decides not to run. The coronavirus is not the only epidemic that people are concerned about this school year. It's shaping up to be one of the deadliest semesters for gun violence on campuses nationwide. After a decrease in classroom violence in 2020, thanks primarily to learning from home during the pandemic, school shootings are again on the rise. 2021 has been seen as the most gunfire on school grounds in the nation's history, with 139 incidents, resulting in 28 deaths and 80 injuries. One psychiatrist blames isolation from the pandemic.
When it comes to your patients, the teens who you see, has their mental health deteriorated during the pandemic? Are they worse off right now?
They're in greater distress. And I think, part of the issue has to do with trying to help them to normalize it.
Dr. Herrick also says stress brought on by social media has created a mental health crisis among our country's young people. The trial of three white men charged in the shooting death of Ahmaud Arbery, a 25-year-old black man, is in the hands of the jury. Travis McMichael, his father Greg, and William Bryan were all charged in Arbery's death on February 23rd of 2020. The McMichaels then armed themselves and tried to stop Arbery when they saw him running through their neighborhood. They were joined by Bryan, who recorded the incident on his phone. A struggle ensued, and Arbery was shot by Travis McMichael as he fought with the McMichaels and tried to grab Travis's shotgun. Defense attorneys argued that the men were attempting illegal citizens' arrest, seeking only to detain and question Arbery about suspected crimes in the area, and fired only in self-defense. Ahead of the Thanksgiving holiday, the U.S. Pentagon sent out nearly 60,000 pounds of roasted turkey to American troops who are stationed on U.S. military installations around the world. This move comes after President Biden and his First Lady, seen here, served troops a Thanksgiving meal at Fort Bragg on Monday. Last year, in order to mitigate the spread of the coronavirus, holiday meals were switched to a grab-and-go takeout style instead of large group gatherings in dining facilities. The Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade will be back in all its glory this year, and just like in past years, 360,000 pounds of concrete barriers will be placed along the route for safety reasons. This year's 95th annual parade will cover the traditional 2.5-mile route. There's a minor change this year. Children under the age of 12 will not be on the floats. Everyone marching in the parade will need to be fully vaccinated, making it possible for kids 5 to 11 years old to participate because they just became eligible to get shots. The parade will be televised on KVLY Thursday morning from 9 to noon. An essential oil found at Walmart is under recall. We'll tell you which one and why a little later.
We did kiss 50 degrees in and around the FM area today, 53 in Jamestown, near 40 in Grand Forks. It was a little cooler up north. Big changes are heading our way, but let's check out this tower cam time lapse from Home of Economy in Devils Lake. Your hour-by-hour details on a wintry Wednesday next.